Hello everyone! As a lot of people requested that already, I finally decided to make a few videos that explains how I make the effects on my YouTube channel. So I'm not really used to make tutorials, so I don't really know how to make that, but if you have any suggestions or feedback to leave, just write a comment and I'll make sure to reply to them. Also, please excuse me for my accent, I'm not a native English speaker, so if you don't understand something, or if you think I can improve anything, just tell me. I always reply to all the comments you leave, and yeah, so let's get to it. First of all, I will explain to you the basics of the program I use, which is called Unity. So here you have the main interface. So in here you can see the scene, that's the 3D scene I use to create the effects. Here you can see just a plane with the ground texture for League of Legends. Here you can see the main character, Lux, for this effect. And here you can see the poor Garen who received all the damage for quite some time already. And yeah, I changed him to Katarina because I just hate her. And yeah. So, where should I start? I will start explaining how I made Lux Ultimate for Darkstar fanmade skin. Also, I want to be clear with something. I'm not making custom skins. What I make is just fan arts. These are absolutely not compatible with League of Legends in any way. Maybe the only thing that could be used is the textures, and even that is not sure because the textures are not the same. So yeah, don't ask me to make custom skins because I just don't know how to make them, and I just don't want to spend the time making them. So yeah, what I make here, my channel is just for training purposes, so I can get better at it, and for fun because I just love making this. So yeah, and yeah, let's get started. So this is the ultimate. Here I'll show you. That's basically, yeah, that's basically it. It lasts not even 2 seconds, and I'll show you every object that's in it. But I think for this introduction video, I'll just show you one object, like here, the portal, so that you can see what makes a particle system, like this, how I set the sizes, the colors, the materials, and that stuff. So this video will be very basic. If you already know how to use Shuriken in Unity, I don't think it will be very helpful for you. But if you don't know anything about Unity or Shuriken in general, I think maybe you will learn a thing or two. So here I will hide all the objects I don't need. So here I just need this one, so all of these can be deactivated. Here you uncheck the game object, and I'm left with this, just the portal. So here I have the particle effect editor here. If you don't have this, you can either go, I'm not sure it's in here. No, I don't think it's in here. No, but you can, let's say I close this. When you select the particle system, you can click on open editor here, and that will open this. And since it's more useful, I'll just dock this here, and I'll show you. So let me undock this, maximize. Nope, not maximize. Whoop. Here, nope. Okay. This is all the particle systems I have for this, for the ultimate. So I have the portal, I have the portal inside of it, the galaxy thingy. I have the distortion, I have the swirls, I have the darkness, I have the lights and all the dots, the glow, the area, all of that nice stuff. Here I focus on the portal because it's a very simple one and I think it's a good start. Come on, here, let's dock this back. Nope, not here. Here. Okay. So let's get started. The duration. I can't really explain that here. So I explain then the duration when I arrived at the emission. So let's start with the looping. The looping is just what it is. Deactivated, as you can see, it just doesn't loop. It goes, it spawns particles once, and then it stops. As simple as that. If I loop it, every 0.45 seconds, it will start the effect again. So here, boom, boom, boom. It never stops. It just loops the effect. If I activate the pre-warm, as you can see here, it starts already looping. If it's not activated, it will not start looping. It will spawn the particles once, and then it will enter the loop, like this. You can see the difference. Here it starts already looping. That's very useful if you make a game where, for example, the game enters a new scene, and in this new scene there is fire, and you don't want the player to see the fire just slowly starting when they enter the scene, because it's not very pretty. This fire is supposed to be there already. So you activate the pre-warm, and the fire will already be burning. There will already be smoke and embers and all that shiny stuff, and it will not only start when the player enters the room or the scene. In this case I don't really need it, so I uncheck it. The delay, that's just a delay. You put, for example, 2, and the effect will only start at 2 seconds. Oof, there. 2 seconds is actually pretty long now that I think about it. If I just put 1, it will start after, you can see here, 1 second, and yeah, you got it. The lifetime, that's very important. That's how long your particles will live. So if I say, for example, 0.1 second, it will be very, very short. You can see here, it's just like a flash. If I put 2 seconds, it will be long and slow, and yeah. For this effect, since this is the charge effect, I want it to be 0.7 seconds, because the laser takes 0.7 seconds to charge. Here, that's it. So, the speed. It's just the speed. If I put 5, it will go poof. This. If I put 1, it will be slower. If I put -5, it will go in the opposite direction, like this. If I rotate the particle system, it will go, it will follow it, and yeah, that's it. Very simple. Well, let's put that to 0 again, and it's back. Of course, when it's on 0, it just does not move. The size. Up here. I put it to 3.2 because that's what I wanted it to look like. But if I change it here, it changes the size of the particle. It's just the size of the particle. Very clear, very simple. 3D start rotation, I won't touch it now, because I don't know if it's a bug or not, but when you activate it, it's very painful to deactivate it, because you can't, if you just uncheck it, it will keep moving in 3D, and that's not really what we want here. So I'll just explain this one in another video. The start rotation is just the start rotation of your particle. If you want them to start with 180 degrees, you just type that, and if you want them to start, I don't know, this, it will rotate that way. That's very useful if you have, I don't know, like very precise shapes, or very geometrical shapes, like the ones I made in or program or project cartes. I want them to be very precise, like isometric shapes and that stuff. I want them to be like 90 degrees, 180, and I can set that here. This one I never use. I'm not actually even sure what it does. So if you know, just tell me. I'll be grateful. Okay, so the start color. That's just the starting color of your particle. If I want it to be red, I just select red here. If I want it to be, want it to be more bluish, I can go here. I always put it white, so that here, the color of a lifetime, I have more control. If I already put it red, well, it will always be red, because red is... it's red, you can't really modify it as you want. If I put it to white, I can change it with this module here that I'll explain later. Then there is the gravity. Generally use that for sparks or energy things that fly, like little sparks most of the time. So here if I put it to -1, it will go up. If I put it to 1, it will go down and accelerate in the process. It's just gravity. Simulation space. So here I'll put it back to loop so you can see it better. Here, if I move the effect, it will always follow the gizmo. If I put it on world, to be okay, it will take the rotation from the world and not from the object. So here I just think as if it was the same. I don't spend time modifying this. So here, if I change it, you see the particles are spawned and they don't follow the gizmo. They just stay where they are spawned. So that's very useful if you want, say, to make a rocket or just any kind of projectile that leaves a trail of smoke or that kind of stuff. Let's put it back there, Ctrl Z, and that's it. Remove the loop. Okay. Scaling mode. You have hierarchy, local, and shape. I'm not actually sure what's the difference between local and shape, but the main difference would be with hierarchy and local. Hierarchy, well, let's say I have an effect with ultimate, for example, here. The whole hierarchy here. I can put them all in hierarchy mode, and if I activate 2, if I change the scales to 2, all of them will change shape. Now, if I don't want that, I can just go back here and put this to local. So the particles set on local scale will never modify their scales if the hierarchy changes. It will always keep the same scale. If it's put in hierarchy, it will follow the hierarchy. If it's put in hierarchy, it will follow the hierarchy. Getting hardy. Okay. So let's put it back to 1. I don't want to screw that up. Okay. Play on awake is just that's not really useful here, but in programming, if you want to activate one game object at one point, that's what I do most of the time. You just set play on awake, and when the game object is activated, the particles will play. If you don't do that, the game object can be activated, but the particles won't play directly. You have to tell them to play at a certain event. Maximum particles is just the maximum particles you can have at the same time. I didn't modify them because I don't really have any performance issues because I only make videos. But if you are in a game development environment, you want to set that because let's say you have a fire and there is a lot of smoke, and you can spawn, I don't know, 10, 20 particles of smoke. And if you want different settings, you can say that the maximum particles it can emit would be, instead of doing 20 on high, on medium it can be 10, for example. So that's how you can change that. Here I only spawn 1. If I put that to 2 again, there is 2 particles. Okay, so the emission, that's the main module you use. Here only sets a burst. I don't know why, but it's not written correctly, but burst and time. So the time 0, I will spawn 2 particles between minimum 2 and maximum 2. So here, as you can see, I only spawn 2 particles. If I spawn 20 particles, that's a lot more. Well, actually, you don't really see it because but max particles, that's also a security. If you write a wrong number, this one will never move and it won't explode your particles count. Like here, I put 20 and that's way too much for what I want. So let's put it back to 2. Whoops. Here is 50, for example. And here, I have 2 particles. The rate is how many particles you will spawn per second. So, for example, I want to spawn 10 particles per second. Here, it will spawn 10 particles in a second. If I set that to loop, then it will continuously spawn these particles. So the duration, looping, deactivate that. I want the particle system to last for 4 seconds, for example. Here, it will continuously spawn these particles for 4 seconds. If I only say 1 second, it will continue to spawn these particles for only 1 second, so only 10 particles, and then it will stop. Here I don't want any particles to be spawned per second. Okay, the shape. Okay, here I use a point, so mesh, vertex. So this point here will spawn the particle. What? This point here, rather. Better. Okay, this point here spawns the particle. If I want the particles to spawn, let's say in a box, like this. Ooh, why do they move? Because of the rotation. Let's activate this. Okay. Here, I just want the particles to be spawned within the box. Let's put 10 particles per second again, and you'll see all the particles only spawn within that box. In loop. There will never be particles spawned outside of that box. If I want them to be spawned on the plane, you see these particles are only spawned within this, because I put 0 in the z-axis of the box. That can be very useful if you make, for example, a rain. Well, let's do this. Let's reduce the size. But you can see here, let's imagine there is lots of missiles going on the ground, falling to the ground, and then there is this small explosions on the ground. That's how you can achieve this effect. Let's Ctrl-Z or this. Z, Ctrl-Z, mesh, vertex. Okay. Let's now do the velocity over lifetime. You don't actually see it because I killed the particle earlier, but let's say I want this particle to go very slow at the beginning and then to go very fast when it shoots. Then that's what I want to do. Oh, no, this one. Whoop. These are presets curves. So what this says is just the speed of the particle will be 0 at the beginning, so very slow, and then it will slowly go faster and faster and faster until it reaches the speed of 2. Here, poof, poof, then go faster. But this is not the axis I want, so let's just put this back to 0. And I want the axis local. I want the axis blue, the Z one. This one. I want it to go up to 6, and I want it to use this one. So here, poof. Then I can invert it. So let's say like this. Yep. It's very slow at the beginning, and then it goes faster and faster. You can add a point by double clicking on it. And then I can move the point to change the graph. And then, nope, not that. This one. Like this. So it will be very slow at the beginning and then poof, just very fast at the end. Shoop, like this. So let's control that again. You can do that on all the axes, of course, and you can use either local or world positions. I don't actually want any velocity, so that's fine. Then the one I see then will be the color of a lifetime. That's very important. So here, let's talk about the transparency first. Or maybe the colors, I think it's easier to understand. So first, I want this particle to be blue. Well, I mean pink. Pink, bluish kind. So I set this color here. This one. Then I want it to go warmer because it's a charge. At the beginning it's cold and then it gets warmer and warmer and until it fires the laser. So I want it to go up to this kind of color, orange. So here I put it in slow motion, 0.2 speed, simulate. You can see it starts purplish and then it goes bright orange. So I can just use this key, choose the color I want, create another key if I want by double clicking under the bar. And then if I want it to go green, for example. Ooh, that's ugly. That's how you change the colors of your particle over its lifetime. Now I want the particle to be transparent at the beginning. As you can see here, it's transparent. You can see through it, you can see Garen behind it. So at the beginning it's the alpha, so the transparency, or the opacity if you want, is at 0. So it's not opaque at all, you can see behind, you can see through it. Then it goes to 95, which is about, I don't know, 30% of transparency. Then it goes up to fully opaque, like this. You don't see through it, it's full white, orange, you don't see through it at all. And at the beginning, at the end, sorry, it goes from full white to black. So it just disappears in one instant, poof, like this. Then there's the size. So the size, it's a bit like the velocity. It starts small, then it goes up to 1 in size, and then at the very end it goes poof, there's a small, how do you say that, enlargement at the end. So in slow motion, how does it look like? Like this, you see it goes larger and larger, and then poof, at the end it goes larger very fast. I can amplify this. Oops. By doing this, for example, so you will see at the end it will go poof, like a shockwave. Let's do this. Okay, now the rotation of a lifetime. So this is the angular velocity. So what does it mean? It's just how fast will the particle rotate on itself. Here, let's only use one particle. You can see this particle is rotating very slowly at the beginning, and then it goes faster and faster. Let's just use a curve, so you can see better, slow at the beginning, and faster at the end. And then that's it. Let's remove the screen, I don't like it. Okay. Here, faster, faster, and that's it. I use a random between two curves so that two particles rotate in different directions. You can see, so they look like they are intertwined together. I don't know how to say that otherwise. But see, they rotate. They don't rotate in the same direction. Maybe you can see it better if I use the wireframe. The two planes rotate in different directions, like this. Then there is the renderer. That's very important. That's where you set up the shape and the material of your particles. So here I want to use a mesh. I'll explain the other ones in other videos, but this one is a mesh. And what mesh is this? It's a quad. I can click the little circle here and I can select the meshes I want to use. Here I just use a quad because that's the one I want. If I want to use a sphere, I just click on this one and then it's a sphere. That's this one, okay. That's a sphere with the material applied to it. But that's not what I want. What I want is just a quad. So let's use this one. Yeah. So then there's a material. And what is a material? A material is okay, first I think I will need to explain what is a shader. So let's see what is a shader. Well, what shader did I use for this one? Select shader. Okay, this one. So a shader, let's show in Explorer and open with Sublime Text. Okay, a shader is code. It's just code. I will not explain what it does here. But basically, it explains to the computer how to render the mesh, how to render the shape, and how to render the geometry, how the light will affect the geometry, how it has to blend with the rest of the game, and yeah, that's basically it. That's how the computer knows what it has to draw on the screen. And a material is what you feed the shader. For example, for the portal, this is the material. You say, I want this texture for this one, I want this intensity for the glow, I want this intensity for the depth, I want this color for the main color. And you can change all of these either by using the particle systems or just by setting them here. So for example, for this one, I use this texture for the impact. Yep, here, very simple texture in Photoshop. Then I import it in Unity and I can set it up in the material here. And for example, I can show you here if I move this down here. In the shader, I put the depth node, which is this one. For example, I can say that at 0, there is this very, very sharp intersection with the geometry, and I don't really like that, so I want to put maybe 0.2. But you can see if it goes through the geometry by accident or voluntarily, it's not as sharp. You can put that, whoops, to 2.5, and it's very smooth. Let's put that to 0 because it never intersects with the geometry, so it's fine. If I want to change the glow, that's the intensity of this material, I can just put it to 1. If I want to make it brighter, I can put it to 6. But that's way too bright, so I think 3, maybe even 2 here, 2.5 would be good. But I put it to 3, so I'll leave it that. Okay. So let up, Ctrl Z, I changed too many things. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. Nope, that's it. Okay, good. So here we're back on the tracks. So that's the material. Now there is a sort mode, but okay, I think I can explain this one. Let's say I have a very complicated effect like this one, like actually like the ultimate, with a lot of different particles. I can say that this particle goes in front of another. I can say that, oops, it's here, sorry. I can say that this particle is has an order number of 24, and this one has an order number of 5. So this one, if I'm not mistaken, will be in front of this one. So if I, for example, put 5000, this one will be most likely be rendered before all the other particles. So here it's 24. So that's very useful if you have a lot of particles who are one on another, like here. For example, the galaxy, if I put 50, the galaxy will be rendered before that one. If I put it back to 5, it's behind, so that we can see the light coming out of the edges. And yeah, I think that's actually it for the basics. I'll make another video, of course, with more deep stuff. And I will most likely make some new videos to explaining from A to Z how I make one effect. But I'm not sure when, because I don't always have the time for that. So yep. Okay, so once again, if you have any feedback or questions or suggestions or whatever, if you just want to say hi, just leave a comment. And also, if you like the video, hit like. If you didn't, hit dislike, because that helps too. And if you want more videos like this, hit subscribe. And yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.